Imagine cruising down the interstate when suddenly your rearview mirror fills with a massive chrome grille the size of a small apartment. It is a brand new lifted monster with pristine off-road tires that I guarantee have never actually touched a single speck of dirt. We all know this stunning piece of engineering, mainly because it costs more than a starter home in most of the Midwest. But here is the kicker keeping me awake. Statistically speaking, the guy behind that wheel probably makes less money than you do. So you have to ask yourself how on earth regular people are affording car payments that look exactly like mortgage payments. I'm Alex, and if you have ever wondered if you are the only one not getting a secret bonus check, please subscribe. The average new car payment in America has officially crossed a threshold that would have made our parents faint on the spot. We are watching millions of people sign papers for depreciating assets that eat up nearly half of their monthly take-home pay. These are HVAC techs and paralegals who have somehow been convinced by a clever system that this broken math actually works. Okay, let's stop guessing and look directly at the receipt to see exactly how much cash we are actually talking about. The average monthly payment for a new car in the U.S. has now officially surged past $730. But when you look at the crew cab trucks that people actually want to drive, the numbers get ugly very fast. It is now terrifyingly common to see financing agreements where $1,300 leaves a bank account every single month. We are talking about total loan values topping $85,000 before you spend a single dime on insurance or gas. You might think wages have skyrocketed to match this, but median household income has barely budged compared to vehicle prices. The only reason this works is that lenders have shifted standard terms from 3 years to a terrifying 8 years. They stretch a $65,000 truck over 96 months to make the payment look affordable, but it is a trap. By doubling the length of the loan, you are not saving money. You are literally lighting $15,000 on fire. By year 5, you will owe far more than the truck is worth, paying for a vehicle that is already rusting. Extended loan terms are merely the appetizer, while the main course of financial destruction begins with that seductive 0% sign. It sounds like free money, but the dirty secret dealers hide is that the cost of financing is baked into the price. You usually must choose between cash rebates or 0% financing, meaning you effectively pay all that interest up front in the price. Let's be real, because the only people qualifying for these rates are those with perfect credit who could have paid cash anyway. For everyone else with a few credit dings, the reality is a punishing 8% interest rate on a decade-long loan. Then comes the trade-in game, where shiny object syndrome kicks in after 3 years, long before the original loan is paid off. They get bored and want the upgrade, but they still owe $30,000 on a car that is only worth $22,000. Instead of paying the difference, the dealer smiles and simply rolls that negative equity right on top of the new loan. Now they drive a new $50,000 car, but carry a $58,000 loan, paying for the ghost of the past. It becomes a financial hamster wheel where the debt snowballs, and the faster you run, the further behind you actually get. Dealers love this because you literally cannot afford to leave them without writing a massive check to escape the trap. Perhaps the most terrifying part of this entire story isn't the cold mathematics, but a culture that has normalized extreme debt into mass hysteria. Think about it this way. If a friend told you they spent $1,200 a month on coffee, you would immediately stage an intervention. If they admitted to dropping that same amount on designer clothes every 30 days, you would assume they had a serious shopping addiction. Yet when it is a car payment, we simply nod our heads and frame a massive luxury expenditure as a basic necessity for transportation. This normalization is the calculated result of brilliant marketing designed to convince you that a vehicle is not a machine, but an extension of your soul. Your truck is no longer just for grocery runs. It is a loud statement to the world that you are successful, rugged, and reliable. The automotive industry stopped selling cars years ago and now sells lifestyles, tapping into psychological triggers to peddle fantasies instead of transportation. Watch any commercial to see a truck conquering a mountain or splashing through mud, selling the fantasy that you are a rugged adventurer. They sell this rugged image even though the only off-roading you will ever actually do is parking on the grass at the county fair. This powerful emotional manipulation makes it terrifyingly easy for a graphic designer to justify a monthly payment that defies all logical explanation. When you are buying an identity, that $900 withdrawal feels less like a bill and more like an investment in your self-image. Once the contract is signed, people develop automotive Stockholm syndrome, becoming emotionally attached to the very financial captor that is draining them dry. If you suggest driving a used sedan, they do not hear a financial tip. They hear a direct attack on their success and hard work. They will defend that truck payment with passion, even as it actively stops them from providing for their family's actual financial future. Let's get back to practical mechanics and ask how an HVAC tech with $4,000 a month actually manages that payment. This is where things get creative. And by creative, I mean potentially disastrous for their long-term financial and mental health. Many people are essentially restructuring their entire existence around a piece of sheet metal, treating a car payment like a mortgage. I have seen people downgrade their housing, literally living in a shoebox just so they can park a palace in the driveway. They eat instant ramen and skip the dentist to support a vehicle that consumes 30% of their net income. But the most ironic trend is the side hustle trap, where they use the expensive truck to generate income for the truck. It is a bizarre form of automotive indentured servitude, where your car becomes both your master and your means of survival. You are putting miles on it and depreciating it faster just to make the monthly payment so the bank stays away. Others make deadlier mistakes by dipping into retirement accounts, borrowing from their future selves to fund a current fantasy. They sacrifice hundreds of thousands in future wealth for a truck that will be a worthless rust bucket in 10 years. Then there is the credit card shuffle, where they use 25% interest debt to subsidize their daily transportation. It is like using a blowtorch to light a cigarette. Technically it works, but you are probably going to burn your face off. But wait. It gets worse because we haven't even discussed the costs that hit you after leaving the dealership lot. Most people focus so intensely on the monthly payment that they completely forget the big three: insurance, maintenance, and fuel. Insuring a $65,000 heavy-duty truck costs significantly more than a sensible sedan, easily exceeding $200 a month. For a family with 2 car notes running simultaneously, insurance alone can hit $6,000 a year just to drive legally. Then comes maintenance, where a simple brake job on a modern truck involves complex sensors and can cost $1,200. A transmission issue can run $5,000, usually ending up on a credit card because nobody has an emergency fund. If you drive a beast getting 15 miles per gallon, you are burning $400 a month just to commute. Now let's do the final math on a typical scenario where someone buys a $55,000 truck with a 7-year loan. When you add up the loan, insurance, fuel, and maintenance, this person will spend over $130,000 total. Here is the punchline. After 7 years of spending that fortune, they own a truck worth maybe $15,000 on a good day. They paid $130,000 for a $15,000 asset, which is wealth destruction with heated seats. Now imagine if they drove a used car and invested that monthly payment into a boring index fund earning 8%. After 7 years, they would not just have an old truck, they would have over $70,000 in liquid cash. That is the fundamental difference between looking rich in a nice truck and actually building real, lasting wealth. So, the mystery of how regular people afford these astronomical car payments isn't really a mystery at all. It is a carefully orchestrated illusion built on smoke, mirrors, and financial gymnastics that would make a circus performer jealous. The automotive industry spends billions perfecting a process that bypasses your logic and goes straight for your emotional triggers. Notice they never discuss total cost because they are selling you a dream today and billing you for a nightmare tomorrow. If you worry the payment is too high, they simply smile and extend the term to 84 months. They have a clever answer for everything, designed specifically to keep you running on that financial hamster wheel forever. So the next time you pull your sensible, paid-off sedan up next to a gleaming monster truck, do not feel jealous. Remember that the person behind that wheel is likely stressed out and eating generic cereal just to make the numbers work. They are essentially renting a flashy lifestyle from the bank, while you are quietly and actually owning yours. That reliable used car in your driveway isn't a failure. It is a badge of honor proving you are smart. It means you know the difference between looking rich to strangers and actually being rich in your bank account. If this saved you from a $900 mistake, please hit subscribe to keep your money in your pocket.